Yes, it is. Welcome, Restoration Rebels. This is the Restoration Rebel Roundtable for May 26th, 2022. We've got a couple regulars in the room today, a new guy, and oh, there he is, Mr. Ben Peterson. Get in the room. Before we get started, we're going to read the agreements like we always do. Please forgive me. I'm recovering from the Rona, but it's not going to deter my enthusiasm today, sir. Okay, agreement number one. I will protect the value of my services. Offering free services only serves to erode the value of similar services industry-wide. Agreement number two, I will practice incredible transparency. I will explain the claims process in detail to my clients. I will not hide pricing details or manipulate reports. I will not communicate with third parties without also communicating with my client. I do not believe in competition. Restoration companies in my market are part of my community. I will be an active member of that community. And the gentleman in this room today, thank you for being here, being active in our community. It is our unbreakable unity that will create the change that we strive for. Agreement number four, I am willing to walk away from any project, client, or contract that's not compatible with my values and stated mission. No relationship is worth losing money, sleep, or my humanity. And let me tell you right now, the more selective I get with my clients, the higher I put my prices, the more fun I have and the better results my clients get. So don't be afraid to step up market, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be afraid to raise your prices. Don't be afraid to stand your ground. If your client doesn't respect the fact that you're standing your ground, they're probably not a good client for you. There are plenty of clients out there. There will never be enough restoration contractors in the market to service the needs of the market. The carriers know this. The TPAs know this. You need to recognize this. Take it for reals. Mr. Work Easy is in the house. I've had a couple conversations with Mr. Ben Peterson over the last couple of years. I knew his brother. Rest in peace. I was so sad to hear that he was gone. Because I grew up in the Portland restoration industry with him. And we could probably arm wrestle over the fact of who got started first, but we're in that generation. We're in that next, I'm a solid Gen X. I mean, I'm right center, 1975, right? So, and there seemed to be a generation of restorers coming up in the early 2000s, late 90s, of our caliber. And so, yeah, the world is, a little less interesting without your brother here, but we've got you, Ben. And you know what? Let's just cut right to it. I plan on introducing you guys to the Restoration Rebel group, but you're here, so why don't you save us the trouble?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it, and appreciate the kind words you said about my brother. Yes, I did grow up in the Portland metro area restoration market. Spent almost 30 years with ServPro franchises. Not only as a franchisee, but grew up in that family. My parents owned ServPro franchises. Me and my wife owned ServPro franchises. We were both franchise business consultants for the for ServPro. I'm now working for a company called Workies as their franchise channel manager. Workies is a field service management tool. And we had gotten on here a week and a half ago with Andy to kind of show him some of the differences between our tool and maybe some other estimating platforms that are out there that we all know of. And just wanted to show him, some of the things that we're doing, some of the bells and whistles that we're utilizing. And when we get a chance here, Andy, I know that you don't want to dominate everything on the show here today, but would love to get a chance to be on the Restoration Rebel podcast with you guys and show you guys what we're doing. Maybe get that demo going that we did for you last week. So
yeah, we're gonna do a show and tell for sure. But what I saw in our 2 or 3 interactions over the last couple of weeks was a tool that really doesn't exist in the market, in the restoration market, in that it's a CRM, it's job scheduling, it's job management, it's a whole lot of things. So, full disclosure, I am now officially a, what do you call it, affiliate. So there will be affiliate
fantastic.
links. Fair warning, affiliate links coming soon. But I believe in it so much that I'm looking very hard at implementing the Work Easy system into claims delegates, because I see that as a way to scale. I can only do so much myself through hacking my way through, faking my way through, being a programmer, which I am not. So at the next level of my business, I think is going to require something like Work Easy, and I'm just not seeing anything else on the market. I know there's Accelerate, I know there's Encircle, I know there's Dash. Help me out. What else?
I personally use Job Nimbus.
Job Nimbus. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Now I like Job Nimbus because one, I mean, it's a CRM. I mean, as I like to refer to it, it's the poor man's Dash. It's unlimited users. It's unlimited users for $100 a month. So every one of my clients, I give them their own account to log into, and they can upload their jobs and documents to me with ease. Each of my people, if I have a freelance estimator, something they can get in and put notes in and stuff like that. But I mean, you've got to have a CRM tool or some, even if you're like you and me, Andy, writing estimates, or if you're a restoration company, you got to have a CRM tool to keep track of it. And the nice thing is most of these CRM tools nowadays, they do have it where like you can give them out to your subcontractors and say, hey, if you're going to call the homeowner to let them know you're on the way, call them through the app, and then it logs that you called them. So when they say Bobby's drywall company didn't call me and I'm mad because they showed up at 8 a.m. No, ma'am, you can see right here, they called and left the voicemail, or they sent you a text.
Yeah. So when that call comes in, I like the idea of having the ability to look at the map. Oh, that call came from northeast, part of town. Well, I've got a technician right there. That's what Work Easy goes. Okay, assign technician. Boom. Email, text automatically goes to the technician, automatically goes to the client.
You can
your technician, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, your technician is Joe. He'll be there in about 15 minutes. He's going to call before he gets there. I mean, just that sort of that stuff that we do manually as customer service, but it's nice when a system supports you in doing that level of customer service. So more to come on that. I'm very excited about my personal business because I'm sick and tired of being small, frankly.
I'm interested about it because I will say, as far as anyone, with Job Nimbus, it is a very much it's not streamlined. Like, Dash is very like boom, 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 pretty visual. It's easy to learn for someone that's not computer literate. But, like a Job Nimbus program, it's a lot of manual setting up and all. And I looked at your works thing the other day when I knew you were doing a meeting with them. And it definitely looks like it's a little bit more streamlined of a process. So I'm interested in hearing more.
Well, it's intentional, and it's, with the beauty of it, it's working now. It's working in other verticals. It's something that us as restorers for so long, and I've said it a million times, we think we're special. We're not contractors. We're not plumbers. We're not electric. We're restorers. And that's to our own deficit, really.
Hey, my mama tells me I'm special every day, but I don't.
You are. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. But let's talk philosophy. I want to get philosophical here. I had a client on the phone, a potential client. They're not until someone pays you money, they're not a client. So I gave about 45 minutes of free consulting away prior to the call today. Franchise operator out of Texas, who is not on any programs.
Wow.
Despite that fact, they're dealing with Code Blue. And they gave me the back and forth. This is Code Blue's trying to do this, Code Blue's trying to that. And Code Blue, we ended up taking $800 off of our mitigation. And I told them, Code Blue can't take any money away from you unless you let them. And what they wanted is me to review their estimate. They had an invoice, a mitigation, and then they had repairs and contents estimate. They wanted me to review their estimate because Code Blue told them to break certain trades out of the mitigation. And I said, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And I invited them. I said, if you're going to hire me, it's going to cost money. If you're going to hire me at the request of a Code Blue who is telling you to do X, Y, and Z, I invite you to tell them this is going to cost $250 to break this estimate out the way you'd like to see it. Are you going to pay for that? So whether or not they do that is yet to be seen. I don't want to spend their $250 to look at an invoice or an estimate and say, yeah, looks pretty good. I got no problem with it, right? I can't provide massive value. I want to provide massive value for my time when I'm consulting. So on the subject of Code Blue and TPAs coming in non-program, where do we stand? How does that work? And how did we find ourselves here as an industry actually entertaining this horse shit? And I open the floor.
Well, from my experience, the way they've been doing it down here in Texas is Code Blue, Sedgwick, Wardlaw, whatever. They're coming in as the reviewer hired by the company. They're operating under the investigative authority. I just got done with a conference down in Galveston last week, put on by Cal Spooner, public adjuster down here, and a number of plaintiff attorneys.
I've got to take his class. I got to take
it. It's amazing, but there's a lot of people there. Steve Patrick is there, Doug Quinn, APA. But anyway, the short of it is, in Texas, and I'm sure it's similar in other states, these people are operating as default adjusters. They're trying to negotiate a settlement. In Texas, insurance code specifically states contractor cannot negotiate, period, the end. So how do we shut them down? And I've done it now multiple times since I learned this. Miss Sir, ma'am from Code Blue, Wardlaw, whatever. Are you a licensed adjuster in Texas? And then wait.
And then silence.
And then when they admit, no, I'm not, but I'm licensed, I'm certified ICRC. I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. It's a violation of Texas insurance code. I'm not a licensed adjuster. And in many cases, my clients are represented and they're communicating outside those things. And I have my PAs on the call and the PA backs us up and go, all right, we're done here. By the way, the client is aware of this. For this time, we are charging consulting rates for this time and adding it to the bill. Please inform the desk adjuster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do because that's an UPA violation.
And then they never call back.
Oh, no. It got better. They went back to the desk. We're preparing.
Okay.
We're preparing for legal now.
Okay. And that's what I told this potential client is that's not your problem.
Nope.
You're fighting a fight that doesn't belong to you.
Yep.
And they said, oh, well, our client is, they're elderly, blah, blah, blah. They're always elderly, right? They're always old. They're because the insurance company sees this old person and they just assume they're gonna just push them over. But this potential client said, well, they're already talking about getting a lawyer. And I said, fine, send them your invoice and step away because that's not your fight. Let them go legal. Actually, let them go legal. Have their attorney call Code Blue. Have them go to town on Code Blue. But once again, we're restorers. We're not attorneys. We're restorers. We're contractors. We're not PAs, right? I am, but I'm not a contractor either. So we need to keep pushing back and only fighting the fights that we can legally and morally fight, right?
And this is what I'll say about that. First off, I'm 100% agree. You got to talk. You don't have to talk to Wardlaw, Code Blue, Fast Response, any of those people if you don't have a contract with them.
Exactly.
I always look at everything. I'm trying to look at both sides of the story. They are there trying to. I mean, the original goal of the reviewers and everybody was to try to make sure that there was a common, system, and that bare minimum, there's a lot of contractors out there that try to do restoration work because they see the money in there. They don't have any clue what they're doing. They're not trained. They're not ICRC affiliated.
Sure.
Oh,
Sure.
So, they started off, because they were trying to get check for errors because, oh, you have a category 1 loss, but you went ahead and flood cut everything. Why would you do that and everything? They don't treat us like in the group here and stuff. They treat us the same way, even though we are far and above their skill levels of what they're used to having to audit on. But they get away with it with non-programmed people for 2 reasons. One is because it's fair mongering. They put it in your head, hey, well, if you're not going to communicate with me, then I'm just going to write my comparative estimate for what I think it is, and then I'll leave it up to the adjuster to pay, and then the adjuster.
It's not fear mongering. It's extortion.
Yeah,
that's fraud.
Yeah.
And then
I agree.
And then the other thing is they very much try to. It's at least in my experience, even I'm not. Whether I am on the TPA program setup or I'm not, it's never been so much of you don't know what you're doing. It's they try to come at you with you're not accurately accounting for stuff. Like you charge for 2 extra large GUs, you should have only charged for 1 large and 1 regular. And you got someone say, well, all I own are extra larges, so I'm charging for them. And it's a double-edged weapon. I mean, I don't care what size DU I set on the job site. If my PPD requirements an extra large and a large, that's what I charge for, regardless if I only had 2 extra larges, because it's not worth it monetarily for me to invest in 35 regulars and 35 larges and 35 extra larges and never know which one I'm going to, and have a full truck loaded of 3 of each kind just in case I only need one of this.
Yeah,
one.
uniformity.
Fly 737s. That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, it is. And I mean, Andy, I'm sure you can attest to this here. There's a lot of contractors out there who, even in the restoration field itself, and all, when we see some of their estimates, you're like, you are usually like, hey, you're leaving money on the table. But a lot of times also it's like, ooh, this is rough. Like the number of estimates I've seen where they don't have a sketch. So you have no clue what's going on. There's 0 F9 notes to explain any of why they're trying to charge what they are, any justification. I mean, I understand why these companies got involved with the insurance, because with adjusters, they're getting 3 to 4 jobs a day. They don't have time to pick apart and review every estimate and figure out, well, why the hell did this guy charge for this or charge this way here and all. So I understand from that aspect, but if you're providing a solid, defendable estimate that you can back up and you have your documentation and everything in line, they can kick rocks all day long. Absolutely, 100%. Like, I mean, it's funny, like when I worked for Roto-Rooter, non-TPA office and everything, we'd get hit with ward law all the time. And one of the guys at ward law I got so friendly with stuff, he was like, Joe, every time I call you, I know it's my favorite call, because I know that whatever questions I have, you actually are not going to stammer and bumble around and trying to come up with an answer. You're going to give me a straightforward answer. It doesn't sound like bullshit. You have justifications. And he's like, on average, there's usually only 1 or 2 items I have an issue with. I have some friends I have actual friends that are adjusters, and they've shown me some estimates where they're like, this guy literally has, 200 square feet of drywall removed, but the only thing I could tell in the photo is that they flood cut a 4-foot wall out and everything. And I mean, you got to take each with a grain of salt, but when you're talking about the skill levels, like what we all present here and the people that are actively learning these groups and all, you don't need to talk to them. You don't have to talk to them, because you know what you're doing and you're accurately documenting your paperwork. But there are a lot of people that, I mean, some of the estimates they turn in, I hate saying this here, I would side on Code Blue and say, this estimate is all over the place and it's hard to justify this charge that you're wanting to get. Does that make any sense?
What we're talking about here is a consumer protection. But who is being protected when Code Blue or ward law gets involved?
Carrier.
It's not the consumer.
It's the carrier.
Yeah.
Well, and to reinforce what you're saying, Joseph, and I would believe the gentleman in here with me, I know when I did my first ones in Xactimate, I was still performing to a certain level of work producing it. I may not have been properly writing it up in my scope and Xactimate because I didn't understand the tool. I didn't understand how the pricing. I know now, and I don't make that mistake. but I have seen
your
plenty
work
of other
product
guys
was
that have
there.
no clue what they're doing,
Hmm.
and they don't produce the level of work that we strive for, and they attempt to bill for it, or they completely improperly bill, period. I mean, that's back to the argument you made, Joseph, of they're leaving money on the table. All right, you're doing good quality work, but you don't know how to bill for it.
I mean, I had a job. I mean, last year I had a job where literally, I mean, it was from Allstate through Code Blue, an estimate fee. They had me go out and they were like, "Here, do the reconstruction." But while you're there, Joe, take a look at what happened out here and just give us what your mitigation estimate would have been at on this job here. And I can tell you guys all day long, like I'm probably higher than any other mitigation guy in my city right now when I write my estimates. Like they are. I mean, I averaged last year $6,500. My average was $6,500 in mitigation across over 650 estimates. That was my
Wow.
average for the year. So I write really big. And when I went out there, I wrote this estimate. I could only get it up. They were wanting like, this company wanted like $8,000 or $9,000. And I pulled out every stop I could just to come up with $5,000. And when I talked to the homeowner, like the stuff that these companies were doing, they pulled the carpet and pad out and then it charged for extraction. And the homeowner's like, they never extracted nothing. And when she asked the contractor, they said, well, the water was in the pad. We removed the pad and the water with it, the bound water
No,
with it.
you didn't extract.
There before we extracted. She had her own dehumidifier from they bought off of, you know, Wood or whatever. It was an actual Phoenix LGR, which is surprising, but they bought it because when they remodeled their basement like 2 years before, they were told, hey, a good dehu will help dry the drywall out quicker. She had told this company, you can use my dehu so you don't have to lug another machine downstairs in this basement. And they were like, okay, cool. They charged the insurance company for her dehu. And their justification was, well, if you hadn't told us to use it, we'd have brought our own down. So we're still owed that money.
No,
that's
homeowners owed for it.
That's a contractors board problem. That's a
If you have them.
state consumer protection problem.
But the problem is when you only have a homeowner who has no idea how this industry works, you have the adjuster, and then you just have a contractor, and on it's a he said, she said. I mean, that's why, like Andy, people hire you, people hire me and stuff to help them out because sometimes you need that third party view. And like I said, Code Blue and all them, that's kind of how they started off. When they were in their infancy, they didn't harp on us a whole lot on these rules. But as time's gone on, they harp more, they've added more rules in. We don't want to pay for two coats, only one.
Why do they do that? I wonder.
Because they're following who pays their bills.
Could it have anything to do with the unrealistic expectation of ever increasing profits?
They are openly traded companies on the stock market. They have a by law responsibility to show a profit for their shareholders, and they can get in massive trouble if they show a deficit, to the point that literally, like, I mean, I hate saying this, whether or not you agree with global warming or not, we've had more storms and hurricanes and bad weather events every year. Every year it gets worse and worse. I mean, I know 7 different restoration or insurance companies in Louisiana that have bellied up because one after another, the hurricanes hit and they just can't ever get back flush again. And they go under, and then the state has to take over the claims on the stuff. So these people, they're doing everything they can to figure out a way to justifiably not have to pay as much money on these claims because they have too many claims that they're paying out on. That's not our problem.
I would want to see
capitalization is not our problem.
It's not 100%. It's not, Brian. And I would want to see for every single one of those companies that went belly up, how much did their CEO earn over the last decade of that company being in business? And what's the difference between the CEO compensation and how much they should have been capitalized? I bet it's damn close. You have companies, you have insurance companies banking on the fact the state's going to take over anyway. So they come in with unreasonably low premiums, get a certain market share, and then that disaster hits and they say, "Nah, we're done. Bye." But they made their money while they were there. I think that's a broken model. That model is happening in Florida right now. With Citizens and everything else. You think those insurance companies are losing money? No. They got to the point where they might have lost money, so they just called it off. I'm out. They They made money while they were there.
Oh, yeah.
They all made profit while they were there.
And
They
I
just
mean-
want to leave the government and the citizens of this country holding the bag.
And it's, I mean, some of the rules they put that like these companies are wanting to enforce nowadays, they are trying to stretch a dollar out of a penny on the work that we do. I mean, Allstate this
No,
year has now said that you cannot, if you have a drywall and you mud it up, you are only allowed to feather your texture out or seal your wall up 6 inches past the drywall. cut
Show
line.
me the policy.
That's what.
And go to
that's
the manufacturer.
Show me the policy. Go to the manufacturer. Hey, Ben, you've been quiet. Is this the third rail here? Is this a little too hot? What's going on?
No, I've been listening. I'm enjoying it.
I mean, the amount of insurance adjusters I know that will try to tell us to reuse shutoff valves, reuse supply lines, when the freaking sticker at the store literally says, do not reuse.
Do not
And
reuse.
Every plumber
Plumbing
will tell
code.
you, we do not warrant, I mean, I literally tell, even on program on my day job, I tell the adjusters and they say, well, you need to reuse them. I say, okay, the homeowner will either pay or sign a waiver that says they understand that this is not warranted work now, or they will pay for it, and then I'll let them know to submit their bills to be reimbursed,
Say,
because
hey,
I am not reusing this shit.
Just say, hey, tell you what, I'm going to take these that you think is reusable. I'm going to bring them to your house. I'm going to take yours and we're going to use yours in the insured's house. And I'm going to give you these. You okay with that? Are you okay with that? Let's do that. So Ben, you guys have plumbers, you have detailers, you have window washers, you got electricians, you got a whole HVAC guys using your platform. How many of those clients have to run the gauntlet of a third party in order to get paid?
They don't. And this is 0. That's the answer. And this is, one of the things that when I was a franchise business consultant for my previous company, that we used to tell franchises, hey, when you're on national accounts, you guys all know this, if you're in a franchise system, ultimately those are the rules you have to play by. And this is why we saw more and more franchises just saying, you know what, I'm not going to be on national accounts. I'm just going to go and do my own thing. And then that way they can do some of the things that they need to in order to be profitable.
Yeah. And they do. And that's the other thing. I'm not trying to pump Work Easy all day today, but when you can tie your Google My Business and Google guaranteed advertising directly into your CRM, that's a beautiful thing. That's what we're talking about, getting off of programs, going direct to consumer, getting the first notice of loss, tying in your system to your marketing and your CRM should not be different. They should be work hand in glove. And that's
we allow you to,
yeah.
And we allow you to build your estimate however you want. I mean, there's no set pricing. Unlike other programs that are out there, there's no suggested pricing or anything, that they want to say what it is. You can price out whatever you want for extraction, air movers, dehumidifiers, whatever labor you guys are doing. We all know that everything from gas to lumber to labor has gone up in the last year. So price it accordingly. That's what this estimation tool allows you to do in WorkEase.
Yeah, I'm still looking for that. Joe and Brian, what do you think the magic number is in your market, right? It's going to be market to market for square footage pricing, i.e., I will dry any structure in this market for X per square foot. Where do you think that number sits?
Well, I know for reconstruction.
No, drying, mitigation. Because rebuild is all off the map. Rebuild's like north of $300 a foot right now, which is dumb. Like $350 a foot in some markets. It's dumb.
Well, build is approaching 2.
God damn.
And it has to do with supply chain.
Yeah. So what's mid? What number would you be comfortable guaranteeing go into a house? I will do it for this much per square foot.
Between $125 and $150 a square foot.
That feels right. Okay, Brian.
I haven't broke down those numbers, so I don't know.
I mean, like I said,
I invite you to do that. Just real simple. All the MITs, you have the breakdown on Xactimate, right? The square footage of affected area in Xactimate, and you have the total. Just put a spreadsheet together and
I
do,
mean,
do that math.
like a 1,500 square foot home. Let's just say it's a fully affected house and it's 1,500 square foot ranch slab home at $1.25 a square foot.
Oh, I thought you said 125.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
125. I'm sorry. I'm
Say
talking-
$1.25. I'm hiring you as my subcontractor. We're going national.
Well, I can tell you, all right, now that that's been corrected,
Well,
I can tell you,
125, that's the 1,500 square feet at 125. That's at 187. That's a little bit.
That's steep.
That's a rebuild. That's a building size.
That's
there.
steep.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
so
I'm thinking maybe in the 50, but depends, right? Like
that's high.
one bathroom might be 125 a foot, right? But it's only 50 square foot. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Because you're dealing with minimums there. So I can tell you
Yeah.
after the storm with all the molds, the freeze last year, my numbers were ranging how fast I got in there. The lowest was about 22 some change before
Okay.
it turned into a mushroom farm. And then it was pegging out with complications about 32.
Really? That low?
I mean, like if I did a 1,500 square foot house and I had to flood cut it all at 2 foot high, I'm probably going to come in around $40,000 on the dry out. I think that's about fair. So divide that.
How big was that, Joe?
1,500 square
1,500?
foot.
Yeah, that's right.
That
40
equates,
it's not a bad number. Yeah.
that equates out to about 26.66 repeating dollars an hour or square foot.
Square foot. Okay.
So that's
We're
for
getting
a
close.
category 3.
We're getting
So
close.
let's say that it was a category 1 and we pulled floors, but we didn't, and baseboards, but we didn't have to cut anything. That's probably going to come in around 20 grand for a 1,500 square foot home. That's $13 a square foot. I
So
mean,
maybe there's a sliding scale with
There is.
with class and category.
Class cat, and then also if you have the secondary damages and then you turn up ACM, it just goes up.
Great question from the peanut gallery here. What would your net margin be for that price? 28K. What, Tobias, I'm assuming you're saying the 40,000.
every water jar. This is.
I think-
these
I
are
think-
my golden numbers here.
So what? Yeah, I'm going to say first 50 to 60 GP.
Water damages, you should be aiming for 60, and if you're below 50, you need to be chewing someone's ass out. If you're doing a structure clean, a pack out, or a mold remediation, you should be aiming for 80%. And if you fall under 70% profit margins, you should be chewing someone's ass out. A reconstruction, you should be aiming for between 35 and 45% profit margins. If you fall below 25%, you did something wrong.
Yes, because it's not about the number. It's not about the percentage. It's about the risk. And there is way more risk on a mold job. So in order to incur more risk, you need to incur more profit.
Yep.
Period. End of story. Yeah, cost is a secondary consideration. It's what are the likelihood of me getting called back? What's the likelihood of me getting sued? When
What's the
those two
likelihood of one of your
are
people
high,
getting sick?
my prices go up. That's why my rate to write estimates right now for a contractor is $165 an hour. My rate to write the same estimate for an attorney on a litigated file is $225 an hour. Why the difference? Higher risk.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Well, you're doing it for attorney. You're probably getting called into court too.
Yeah, and that rate is not $225 an hour. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, that's
Actually,
the
going
thing
to
is, I
Spokane
mean,
next week, and that's going to be a great trip. I like working for attorneys because guess what? I have the air cover I need to say whatever the hell I need to say to get the job done. I like having attorneys air cover.
and and as for anyone asking, if you're doing a trauma job, your profit margin should be 90 on the high end and 80 on the low end, because one person getting sick with hepatitis because of improper PPE or something, you're done. I mean, you're
Right.
absolutely done. I mean, that stuff, I love traumas. Like, I'm that weird guy that all day, I'd do trauma all day long if I could. But every job, I know those numbers sound high, it's 80% profit. I mean, that's if an insurance adjuster heard that, they'd be like, damn, well, you're charging us that much for a job that you only, but it is. I mean, the amount of times we get called back out, they call out and say, oh, this wasn't dry and we found mold now. And now you got to do a HEPA vacuuming and cleaning of the house. You're dealing with rusty nails and tinnitus and all that stuff there. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility on the owners and the company themselves to protect not just the homeowner, but their employees, because it's just like asbestos. Homeowner can tear asbestos out all day long. No one gives a damn. I do it and I have to follow certain guidelines because we are exposed to those things on a larger scale over a longer period of time. So we have to have better protection.
And the state treats you differently. You're not the homeowner. The state's going to treat you differently. Period.
Right. You're doing the job, like you said, the risk. You screw up, you're boned.
I think this bone broth is kicking in, by the way. Whoa. Feeling good, finally. This COVID's no joke, fellas, ladies and gentlemen in the peanut gallery. I don't poo-poo this. If you haven't had it, you have no idea. It's bad. My wife is still, she's barely rolling out of bed these days, and it's been a week.
Took me like 2 weeks to get over it.
Oh, it is bad. I'm still, I'm growly. Oh, look at that young stud in the background there, Mr. Roush. Look at that guy. Is that your job? Is that your plumbing job?
Yeah, I did that.
I like that.
That's open or manifold.
It's a great manifold system.
Speaking of how we estimate and stuff, I don't know how many people do it. There's a lot of pros and cons, or people for and against it. But a great thing I want to talk about also is like the general room demolition line item. I know a lot of people don't like.
Okay, what do you talk to me? What do you want to talk about?
Everybody wants to itemize the estimate, remove baseboard, replace baseboard, remove drywall, blah, 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 blah. They feel like they don't get enough money on those general, full room demo line items.
Okay.
I can tell you guys right now, if you are using it right, you put your CLNR in there or your HMRT, if it was a whole mold demo job or whatever. I have a fire job right now. It's a 1,500 square foot home. It's a full gut on the inside. I use those general room demo line items. I have the roof on top of it. My entire demo estimate by itself was almost $70,000. And literally most of the rooms only have 1 to 2 demo line items in it. Because it's simply using, if you are using.
Because you did a demo per room.
I did a demo per room, but I changed my labor rates. I read the notes and, it doesn't include fireplaces and this or that things. You can make money using those there, and it helps you, and it's playing the game. A lot of insurance companies would rather you use that general line item because it includes removal of the plumbing and the electrical. There's rewiring for electrical on the repair side, but there's no general electrical removal line item. There's no general plumbing removal line item.
No, there's not.
But I know a lot of people hate those general itemized rooms, and I can tell you right now, if you're changing your labor rates, it's a restoration job. Bare minimum CLNR. You want to argue HMRT because it's carcinogenic all day long. It's a valid argument. I know my guys are just wearing, maybe a mask and some gloves. They're not going in there in full Tyvek wrist type. So I do CLNR. But if you're changing your labor trades, I never can force this enough on people. You will get the money you need. I wrote this estimate. The guy, my new project manager I'm working with, he was like, "Oh, what'd you get? About 40 grand to tear this house apart on the demo side?" And I was like, it was like 65.8 to tear this house apart. And our subs that we're going to work with our contractors and everything. But most people are estimating to only need like 30 grand to demo this job out. You can make money on, even if you follow the line, the adjusters, or preferred ways of estimating stuff. If you work the program the way it's intended, you will still make money.
Well, in those situations, I like to use their words against them. I've got a big file going right now, Vancouver, Washington, where it was pretty obvious to us and my client, the contractor who called me in, that let's bring in a bunch of dumpsters and a big old track hoe, and let's just tear this sucker apart. Let's level it to the ground. It's done. Well, it just said, oh no, you can save that wall, you can save that wall, you can save that framing. And it's a huge house. Concrete tile roof. And we demo it. The track hoe does the work. We demo that thing. We're not even doing by room at this point, Mr. Spears. We're doing it by house. We demo house by square foot, gone. Well, since the adjuster said we can save this, and this, we've got to pick it apart. We've got to take those 25-pound tiles off that roof one by one. We've got to build in structure to support this thing so it doesn't fall over when we demo it.
And that's exactly when you should do itemizing. But like if you have
We
a
had to
fire,
itemize it. It's going to be $150,000 to
if you
demo
do
this
like-
house, and we're going to save what, 4 walls or some shit. But
And
that's what the
reconstructing
adjuster
it's
asked
going to
us
cost
to
more
do.
than a complete replacement.
It's going to be a $2 million loss, easy, all day.
But if you're doing like a smoker where all the drywall is getting replaced, all the floors are getting replaced, you're not doing a whole lot of structural,
Demo by room, for sure.
The demo by room with a CLNR, you won't make as much money as you would if you itemize it, but the amount of stress you're going to save yourself, the amount of headache of arguing about it, and
That's why I do it by room. I do demo by room because I'm lazy as an estimator. Plain and simple.
but I mean, it is.
The money's good enough.
But if you're, instead of having to take, because like when I estimate ceiling, I write ceiling line items, walls, floors, doors, cabinets. I section it off. And when you're doing a whole house itemized, that's an undertaking. It's a pain in the ass.
Yes, it is.
Demo done, repairs good to go, global change, everything to replace only.
It's
done.
harder to argue with the demo by room. It's harder to, did we do it? Yeah, we demoed it. Here's a number. It's harder to argue that than it is by the line item. I understand why they don't like it that way, but once again, since when are we taking our estimating and demo technique leads from adjusters? Since when are we letting them tell us how to do our job?
Like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You don't want to let someone tell you to do your job, but sometimes playing the game, especially when like us know how to manipulate it to still be in our favor, I'd rather.
Hold on. I'll roll that. I'm not manipulating anything.
Nope.
I am not manipulating anything.
Not manipulate. Let me say, using the program
I'm
correctly.
giving you a chance to rephrase.
Right.
With people like us who know how to use the program in its intended fashion
There you go.
and all. I mean, spend 12 and a half, 13 hours writing, an itemized estimate for the entire house, spend an hour writing it, and then you're on to your next job. It's a cost analysis that each company needs to make. And like I said, is playing the game and doing it all like that there 100% of the time right? No, but there's a lot of people I've talked to who are like completely against using it. They're like, no, I'm not. And you can still make good money.
Guess how many jobs they estimate in a year? 15. How many jobs do you estimate in a year?
I'm at 220.
1,500, right? Or something, right? It's about throughput. At the desk level, estimator level, it's about throughput. And I'm all about efficiencies at that. And if you got a line, I got one line I can use for that room instead of 20, I'm doing it all day long.
How many estimates would you say you've wrote so far, Andy, or your company?
I'm wondering if I can do that, if I can do the math real quick. This year,
I know last time we talked, we were about equal at about 120, but obviously yours are larger losses that you do.
Where did I get that number at? I've got, sorry, I got COVID brain still. If we say we're doing 2 times 4, 8. Yes, let's go 8 a week. How many weeks in a week?
8 times 52.
Well, this to date, how many weeks into the year are we? Yeah.
4 times 5, 20 weeks roughly.
Okay.
We are currently in what week of the year?
So
is
we're
it?
probably 8 a week. But they're varying sizes, right? They're
We're in the
160
week.
plus.
We're in the 21st week.
I was close. Haha.
There you go. There you go. But I'm still liking that manifold in the background there. So
Hey, when
I
you're
don't know
back down here, I'll show it to you in person.
if you guys, I don't know if you guys knew that I was an apprentice electrician for a couple of years.
That's cool.
My dad was an electrician for almost 30 years before he hung up his gloves.
Was he master?
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Nice.
you know, the beauty of a good system is, I mean, especially if you're doing it like you've got copper right there, but doing that same thing on electrical side with EMT, there's not very many guys that can do that.
Oh, I will on Instagram. I'll send you a link of a guy out of San Francisco that his stuff is freaking art.
Mm.
You can tell he's got the new spacers. You can clip them in. It hangs it off the studs, keeps them organized. You can see clearly where the wire, and he labels them. It's labeled
Wow.
at the box. It's labeled in the runs that you have access to, and it's labeled at the end.
I love it.
It's awesome.
I like guys that take pride in your work.
Well,
You
they're
know,
also
you can-
thinking of the next guy because they may not be the one repairing it.
Yeah. Open up any wall. I mean, we see it every day in this industry, and we see some really good electrical work and plumbing work, and we some real like, oh
See a
shit,
lot more
that guy was
bad.
in a hurry and a high. I don't know,
Or drunk.
or both.
When you find the beer cans in the wall in the attic, you know what was going on.
You guys want to see more weed than you could smoke in a lifetime?
Ooh, other than being down the street from my house in Arizona, absolutely. There's 2 processing centers down the road from my house now.
Well, I had the distinct pleasure of walking through an agricultural level processing
Wow.
facility last Friday.
Handling the loss.
This is a tornado loss from 2.5 years ago.
I was hoping it was a
Wow.
fire loss.
Not a fire loss. No, this is a legit operation.
Fire loss to be more entertaining.
They bought the farm with the intent of doing this, right? So I'm just going to do, this is just one room, and this is a small room. Okay, there's that. There's,
This up in Culver, Oregon.
yes, sir. How did you know that? Did I tell you I was going out there?
Yeah, but also my in-laws live in Culver. I think that's why you told me about it last time.
Okay, that's right. There, right there. That is, you can see it. That's the buds, but every single one of these bags,
Oh, wow.
full,
Jeez.
Wow.
full.
That's non-restorable. I'll haul it back.
Did you get a
Non-
contact high just by walking in there?
Non-restorable. So,
Oh my goodness.
That one for you.
But then there's this. Then there's this one. Let me get this back up.
Yes, you got it scanned. Awesome.
I did get it scanned. This
That's
is
hilarious.
half of this warehouse, and every single one of those bags, I might have been getting a contact high right there. I'm not sure.
Why he had to scan it so he could remember what the hell he was looking at. He was too high.
Well, I'll tell you. Exactly. I'll tell you why I scanned it. Let me get over here. Let me get
Look at that
over.
bag.
Oh,
Everything's
look at
better
that
with a
water.
bag of weed.
We don't dry out dirt floors. Sorry, you can't cut that.
Tell you why I scanned it. Let's come back here. I think I can show you. Can you look down that line of posts? And do you see a problem? Almost every single one of these posts was off kilter.
I was just gonna say,
They're
it
off
looks
kilter
like
and they're not secured.
And there's a big building on the outside of this. But the tornado, what we're saying is a tornado created so much pressure that it lifted this building enough that the inherent tension in these poles was released. They tweaked, they repositioned, and then it set it back down.
Mhm.
And that's our story, and we're sticking to it
That happens in hurricanes down here.
every time. Yeah, and look at that. That is
That's
not
old growth too.
that.
So you can
crazy.
clearly see it on that footing.
That ain't square. Yeah, exactly right. And this is not old. This is very new. Here's my plug for Matterport. I love Matterport. And look at this wall. Look at this wall. Now we're doing real show and tell. Oh, you can't see it from that angle. Let's come here. Can you see it? Yeah.
I hate it when it lags like this.
It's hard to say. Anyway, there's a huge crack.
Yep.
So we think there's $1 million loss on all these buildings. The carrier thinks it's a $400,000 loss. So, yeah, there we are. And there's Culver. That's the big C in the back. You can see the C in the mountain. I think.
Yep.
There's Mr. McCabe relaxing after getting his contact high in the warehouse.
And I swear the Matterport adds 40 pounds. It
Well,
really
that's why
does.
I never will stay in a Matterport for that exact reason.
That's why you do the dance.
I know exactly where that picture's at because they're now growing hemp out there too. Like you can drive by there and it's all just hemp farms now.
Oh yeah, hemp and cows.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some mint still going in
Is there?
this season. I could smell it.
And I will agree with you, Andy, on the shameless plug. I prefer Matterport over DocuSketch or
Everything. Everything.
If you are needing it mainly for visual references and you only occasionally need measurements, Matterport is the better option over the two. DocuSketch, the only time I think people need DocuSketch is if they are not confident enough on sketching that they need to pull measurements from the 3D rendering every single time because DocuSketch is
whoa. Why can't you pull measurements from the 3D rendering in Matterport?
Well, I mean, you can't. Okay, so Matterport on a professional level is $69 a month. You get 25 spaces, 5 collaborators. And spaces all day long. It's all you got to pay. For the same package size value through like DocuSketch, it's like $400 or $500 a month.
Oh wow.
But every time you do a sketch through DocuSketch, they give you the Xactimate measurement.
They're giving you floor plans and
wait, they gave you the
dimensions.
SKX file or just a floor plan?
I think they give you the SKS. They give you the measurements.
Mm-hmm.
I only occasionally, because I mean, if it's a basic house and you scan the whole house, do a dollhouse mode, print screen, throw it as an overlayment, find your bathtub. You know, a bathtub's 5 foot wide. Boom, you're done. You don't even have to worry about trying to find a measurement.
Joe, really? Hold on. All right.
Here comes Dad.
I'm just interrupting you now. What? Find your bathtub? Come on. Hold on a second. You need to find your bathtub here.
Hey, Lisa, you want to see a bunch of pot?
We're going to start where's our scale?
A farm in Oregon.
Here's our 20-foot scale. Oh, you gotta zoom in a little bit. Oh, come on.
Oh, right there. Those are all bags that are
Well,
my
that's what I would
size.
do if I
times
didn't have
4.
if I didn't have a common reference point for
And a
something
farm in
odd
Oregon.
like that.
No,
Yeah.
you give it.
Buildings.
You set your scale right here.
It's legal to grow up there.
Boom.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Set the
Damn.
scale.
Boom.
Boom. There's your scale.
It's coming.
Easier than garlic?
Now,
Huh?
what you
Is it easier
do,
than garlic?
It's a weed.
Okay.
is you come in here. Hold on. I got
Put your
my-
measurement up, do your print screen from and all. And
No,
then,
not a print. Not yet, because you've got to do a. Hold on. Let's come here. Oh, it didn't take it. Okay, fine. We'll do another one. Let's do.
Oh, you're
40
trying to
foot.
set your 20.
Yeah, let's just do
Hey,
40.
Andy, I'm sorry, but I got to jump off here and get on another webinar. I'm gonna have Sam reach back out to you, and we'll touch base later.
Hey Ben,
Looking
great to
forward
have
to
you.
what
man.
you have, Ben.
Great to have you.
See you guys all later.
There you go. See that? Okay. I set my 40-foot line. I'm going to take a picture, but I'm going to come in here and say include measurements. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Boom. Then all I have to do is export that photo. Yep, get out of my way. View that photo. And that photo is my underlay. And it's got my 40-foot line already in there. So I'm not finding a bathtub. I'm setting my scale. So with this methodology, you can scale anything. You can create your own floor plans in Matterport. You don't have to pay for it. In this room, I would probably do my own, right? Because It's a simple room.
Right.
So now you know, Mr. Spears. Don't find a bathtub. Just set your own scale.
I mean, it's not a bad, I mean, like I said, I mean, that's a perfectly good way to do it. I'll be right back, Phil.
Actually, we're done. It's 2:00. So,
Well, I've got a quickie before we run off.
all right, let's do it.
Andy.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's a little chilling, but I was at a conference in Galveston, Policyholders Preservation Association of America.
That's a new one, PPA.
And Cal Spoon in the PA world's
Okay, so
part of
wait,
it.
so how is it? We have the UP, United Policyholders. We have APA, American Policyholders Association, and now this is the
So yes.
PPA.
So what are the roles?
okay.
I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with their website. I don't know United Policyholders. Haven't attended any of their stuff, so I can't speak to it. You could
Okay.
probably do that. American Policyholders American Policyholders Association. They represent the policyholder to help be the counter investigating arm when the insurance company or their representatives commit criminal level of fraud. So they have a special investigation unit made up of former district attorneys, attorney general, etc. When you turn in your packet and they will investigate your documentation and the communications, whatever, you have to give them, the positive and the negative, because it's possible true prosecution.
Okay.
And if it reaches the level, they'll go through their processes and file formal charges.
Against insurers
And engineers
uh-huh.
and third parties potentially. That's what I want to know how that's going, because that's part of the initiative, that when we have the third parties that are coming in trying to negotiate illegally, commit fraud, that needs to be known. The tactics need to be known because they are committing fraud,
100%.
violation of code criminally
100%.
at the behest of the carrier. So
Right.
that's what APA
Right.
does.
Okay.
So, and it's not to be
TPA.
used as a threat. It's an accountability arm, because the carrier will go after us as contractors, third parties, at the drop of a hat and do criminal prosecution.
Oh, every single time. Yeah.
Right. So they're the counter argument to it, because we know what's going on. So PPAA, its original primary honors, from what I could gather, it's open to contractors, public adjusters, and plaintiffs' attorneys. Okay. And its intent is to educate what are the changes going on in the environment? How do we tighten up our documentation? How do we do our flow of our process, so we can make sure, me as a contractor, yes, I'm dotting all the T's, crossing the I's, and I'm not getting into policy. That's what the PA and the plaintiff's attorneys are for.
Yep.
But it's also, I'm educated what they need, that if it has to escalate, I just go, here you go. And then the PA takes it and goes, here you go. And
and
they're also trying to advocate for the homeowner that way.
They have a clear there's a clear process for that type of handoff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Follow
Well,
the obligations that are put in the policy.
okay. Show us. Will you throw some links into the group for us?
Yeah, I'll get that. Now this is just personal opinion. I know Cal and team, they can improve their website, because it's very basic still. But the people I met and everything, it was very interesting. A lot of good interactions. Of course, we're sharing some stories. We saw some complaints you may have seen in the adjusters forum, that they're complaining, oh, you mentioned names. Okay, if you're citing specific case law, that's okay. It's a part of the record. Now, don't
Right.
go around vilifying unjustified. That's not right. That's not professional. But if it's material that's being publicly shared or can be publicly available, you're allowed to give opinion.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. I learned a lot, and they also gave additional ammunition, because we have common things there, like OSHA statute. How do you defend against that?
Right.
How do you do it? And they
How do
gave
you
clear
say
cut process that's
you
been
do
proven in
not have
court.
to abide by OSHA? How do you say that? Right.
So what I find interesting, and I just got to give a shout out back to you, the mission you started a few years ago by starting Rebels. We have other groups, parallel groups, that are starting to do the same thing.
Okay.
And it's going up the tiers of protecting the policyholder. And that's pretty darn cool.
And we all still have the same problem. The
But we're all
policy,
starting to talk with these groups together.
let's do that. I mean, I'm all for that. At the end of the day, the the insured public still has no idea. They have no idea until they file a claim what they're in for. And in that, and then they hit a wall of a learning curve, and oh shit. I had no idea. You know, no one calls me as their first call. No one calls me until after they've had a conversation or a proposed settlement from their insurance company. And then they realize, oh, damn. Yeah, I had a client on the phone today. I'm working with him on his claim, a fire claim. Safeco came out and said, yeah, it's $5,500. $5,500.
Good luck.
This is a $600,000 loss. He called me today and said, oh, I finally got a new adjuster, got a large loss adjuster flying out of Spokane next week. And the adjuster said, oh, this isn't a new claim? Oh, that's all you got? You have insurance companies who their internal adjusters, their internal claim system has no idea how bad they've messed these things up. And you can only say honest mistake so many times. Mm-hmm. This is by design. The first adjuster that sees every loss is never the right adjuster to settle the loss. It's just the first adjuster so they can take their first mad dash swing guesstimate. Let's see if they'll take $5,000 and go away. Mm-hmm. And only the educated consumer understands that, oh, that's $5,000 is not going to rebuild my house. So yeah, I'm all for it. It's PPAA.
Policyholders Preservation Association of America. It's made up of
we need to have what would that look like to have the Rebel, the UP, the PPPA, PPAA,
APA, all the letters come together.
What would that conference look like? I think it'd be sweet. I mean, it'd be badass. Let's do it in Bend though, because I don't like to fly.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to take. I don't know who's the head of UP. If you know them, great.
I do.
Get the guys at Actual Insights. They can help grease the skids on this, possibly, unless
you think. I don't know.
Violates them also talking the other side, because we're not against talking the other side. Just come back to the table, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, I love them. That's the third rail for them. They're not going to be able to do something like this.
Okay, so anyway, but UP, you, Clark, Norp, whatever the other ones that have sprung up on our side.
Is Norp still a thing?
Yeah, they are.
We're 9 minutes beyond our time here,
yeah.
So I can just
get all the principals together and let's talk.
Norp, talk to me. No, I feel like talking. I feel like let's go long today. No, everyone else stepped out of the room.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I got a cold sweat going on, so I turned my camera off so I can try to cool down.
Is it the shirt? Is it the shirt? You like it too much? Okay.
I don't know.
No, it's me. It's this old picture back here.
That's what it is.
No, it's really that. That's what it's the manifold. It's too shiny. It's jewelry.
Hey, we haven't, it's been an hour and we haven't heard from Mr. Stringer at all. So, Mitch, what's up, man? What do you think so far?
How you guys doing? Hey, I like what I'm hearing. In the industry a long time, 32 years now. So, and on and off. So the PPAA thing, I did a lot of work in the Omaha, Nebraska area for storm damaging, hailstorms, things like that. Super interested, and I'm going to forward that to a few of my buddies, because there's actually a company there that every engineering loss that we looked at, they were called on, no damage. No damage.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
No
this is
damage.
not storm related, not storm,
No,
or
yeah.
it's cosmetic.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was incredible. And it was really
Failure to
amazing.
maintain.
You know, I was working as a TPA program contractor at the time, and which I'll never do again. But that's just, you know, it's just not going to do it. I made a lot of money, don't get me wrong, and you can do it if you do it right, but still, it was a problem. But it got to me where I needed to be, put it that way, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm really interested in that deal because these guys are, to me, they were criminals. You know, I mean, I would take and
Well, they are. They're the worst. They're the worst kind of criminal. They're the criminal that doesn't believe that they're criminals. They're the criminal that thinks that they're doing the right thing. They're coming in and saving the insurance company from all this fraud. They're the worst kind of criminal.
So yeah, I'm, you know, super interested in what you guys have to say. I deal with right now. I'm writing, you know, I write estimates for disaster response. I don't know if you know Bow Value
I don't.
out of Idaho. Up
Okay.
and coming in the industry, going to make a mark in the world.
Good.
Kind of a neat deal.
But once you come right for us while you're at it, send me an email, claimsdelegates.com, Andy@claimsdelegates.com.
You know, Andrew, I've been following you for a long time. You know, it's one of the things I wanted to drop in here, you know, on some of the stuff is, you know, looking at, you know, I've gone to all the classes, it seems like I've done it, never
Yeah, we
really
all
stepped
have.
up my certifications, things like that. I don't believe you have to have all that stuff against you unless you're going to be a PA. You know what I'm saying? I think it helps, but I really do, you know, I'm looking for some information on, you know, what does Ben Justison get out of a good class? You've heard of Ben, right?
I'm not afraid. I'm at liberty to
Got ya.
say my opinions in the public square on that matter.
All right, well, we'll talk on the side. You know, Steve Harmon. You know, I talked with Steve.
I like Steve. I'm a fan of Steve.
Steve, and so you know, I look at that, and then there's, you know, a couple others. There's a guy out of Omaha, Nebraska that, you know, I went to his class, but I wasn't really gonna follow him. If you know what I'm saying. God, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he was a
I think
trainer.
we're at the point as an industry. I think there's no harm in. Well, the only harm is if we know all these other parties that are interested in moving in the same direction as us. The only harm is not doing anything about it. So let's come together. Let's figure that out. You know, the
That's kinda
first.
where I've always been is like, you know, everybody's like, oh, you know, I would go to these conventions. Everybody acts like, you know, there's the enemy. I'm like, dude, are you that dumb? Why are we not sitting down talking about, you know, hey, what are you going to charge for an air mover this year? What are you going to do for this? You know, it's not like I'm going to collaborate and do a bunch of price fixing, but I know I'm going to charge more than anybody else. I can tell you that right now because I'm seeing it.
100%.
Air mover, $3 more. Absolutely. Why? Because I'm better.
What's $3 a day?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, you know, if you think about it, replacement costs of this stuff, I really watch. My brain works so freaking weird. I know the price of bread that I bought a loaf of last
Well,
week.
what's the what does it cost right now to buy a brand new Phoenix air mover, low pro? What's it cost?
You know,
I have no idea.
Out of that market right now,
$2,000 plus.
I bet you're looking at
Wait. $2,000 for an air mover?
Oh, air mover. I'm sorry. I thought I
Okay.
said DHU.
No.
Probably about 300.
Okay.
yeah,
350.
that's what I was saying.
It used to be less. Used to be a whole lot less, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I remember at one point, you know, not too long ago here, really paid like $199 for the low profile 900 CFM air mover. You know, like,
Don has Phoenix air mover radials for $369.
$369. So I was $50 off.
Almost $400.
$629 for a Phoenix Axial.
Is that the double? Is it
No,
the
that's
side by
the-
side?
No, that's the big box. The big box.
Oh, what's that side by side one? I
Oh,
I like it.
Oh,
It
those,
looks
those are the
sexy.
Phoenix Focus dual axials. Those are $279.
I'm gonna put one in my truck. I mean, that's how sexy it is.
So, I really like you guys talking about the TPA stuff because, I'm coming across that, or not the TPA, but, Code Blue. Oh my God, those guys drive me bananas.
Yeah, because thank you for making a differentiation because I don't think they qualify as a TPA either.
Well, I remember when
They have a TPA operation.
he was a glass company when he started out because they solicited me like 2006 or something to come up there and help them scrub stuff, back in the day. And I'm like,
Really?
oh, I didn't even want to be associated with you guys. Now it's worse,
Well, now you've got y'all have my juices churning and marinating. I think there's some synergy here, and where the UP and the APA, and even the PPAA, I don't know, they don't have where I like where they're at and where they're going. I don't believe they have enough inertia or internal momentum to really create change. The only way I see creating change is everyone coming together and getting that synergy and getting in lockstep. Like Brian, you've been with us for years. It's all about lockstep. We got to play from the same playbook. We got oh, well, that play didn't work. Let's go to, change to page 15. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom.
Build a phalanx, put up the shield wall.
The carriers are doing the same goddamn thing, only they're better at it than we are.
Right. That was the theme last week in Galveston. And the point is, as you've repeated over and over, and we've seen these other groups, we think we're alone. We think we're isolated. No, we're not. But this behavior is forcing us to come together. Now, that overall, that's a good thing. It really is, because the more we come together, the more we get educated, it has knock-on effect. And that's the goal of this. So.
Yeah, it is. What's Frank Buckley?
Frank, yes.
Just going to throw this out there. Brian and I might be the farthest rebels to work together. What's that mean?
Frank came and supported me during the freeze last year. He was down here with Moberly and crew.
Where's he
Moberly
from?
brought them in. So Frank came in from Maryland.
That is far. That is a long ways.
He and his brother came down. They brought equipment. They did a good job supporting.
Well, let's touch on that before we check out. The winter, hurricane is coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are our memes? Where do the good memes go? Winter is coming. We need a good place to come together and share things like that. Frank had I'm assuming he had some gear and some bodies. He was willing to travel. You had some jobs, you needed some gear and some bodies. You guys came together, found some synergy, and did some work. And hopefully it was profitable for everyone in between. There's no clearinghouse that exists for that right now, is there?
Right.
It's all on a one-off basis. And I think it's time as an industry we stopped that one-off basis. Let's come together. Let's figure out, let's see who has the jobs and who needs the work, who needs the equipment. And I haven't figured that out yet. It's always been a one-off. So what are your thoughts?
I'm aware of some industry players that are attempting to do something like that. I'm being respectful of not saying who, what, where, and how. It's just related to disasters out west, shall we say, something I mentioned to you the other day, Andy.
Okay.
And I'm doing that out of respect because I don't know the details and they're still hashing it out. So I don't want to throw them under the bus. But yeah, that's the point of Rebels, or one of the points, in my opinion. That's air. That's what it was stood up for. Yeah, we're trying to come up with a tool, or there could be more than one way to skin that cat, you know. But as long as we do it, the point is we do it. Because we're not alone. We're all here to serve the client and also grow our businesses and take care of our families.
Yes, we are. Yes,
It's
we are.
take care of our community.
Brian, you continue to impress me. You've been a good friend, and I appreciate you.
It.
The reading list that you've given me, there's 4 books back on that shelf I have to read now because you sent them to me, but I appreciate every single one.
Shameless plug for John.
Oh, well, let me grab, well, while we're at it.
You're welcome, John.
All right, Mr. Isaacson. There's this one. There's this one. And then there's this one. Good stuff. I mean, this is.
I'm looking forward to the new one.
This
and you
is
know what?
Stuff.
This buck is pretty dumb.
There is no college
can you send me
degree
a link to those?
in estimating. There's no college degree in estimating.
You want links to that, Mitch?
You want links
Yeah,
to these?
Can you have those books?
Give me a sec. Keep us on board real quick, Andy. Let's make John rich. I'm pulling it up right now. I have it.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
There's probably one more that I'm missing.
It's in production right now. No, I don't want Jeremy's. I love you, Jeremy, but I'm not looking for your
there's one more.
conversation.
I think there's one more. Nope. But there, this one. This one's pretty good too. I'm almost through it.
I've got that one.
Nice.
And there's one for contractors that Brian sent me. So be intentional estimating. Here you go.
Yeah, really interested in that. Looks like a good.
And then, so you want to be a project manager.
Sure.
And then be intentional culture. I think culture defines businesses way more than anything else.
It's what my master's degree in, and that is absolutely true.
Yeah, I believe that 100%. You know, you're going to develop you're going to be what you develop, I believe, you know, what you live in. You want to live in squalor, you're going to be in squalor.
And so I just sent you the link
There's
privately.
also little pamphlets like this.
Yep. Oh, I have that one. Thank you. And we've implemented some of that, and it works.
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Simple is better. Simple is better. So, all right, I'm going to copy your link here, Brian, put it in the chat over here in the Facebook page, and we're going to go. Good to see you, man. We'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for the shout out, Frank. I appreciate it. You guys need help on East Coast, reach out to Frank Buckaloo, A1 Cleaning and Restoration.
Wait, Frank just said, I'm leaving the restoration business and doing the IA route. Hopefully I can help change the game. So Frank is
go
no
PA,
longer
Frank.
restorer.
You're better at PA. Go PA.
Yeah, why IA? Why
go PA?
Why would you subject yourself to that torture and not reap the benefits? You know, I'm an IA. I handle IA claims once in a blue moon because I can't find anyone else in Bend, Oregon, because we're a geographic island, and it's torture every single time. It's the money, the juice is not worth the squeeze on the IA side. Period. End of story.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
Why don't you send me your email address or contact info so we can discuss that one person I was talking about earlier?
Yeah, man. Can you Andy at claimsdelegates.com? I just put it in the chat. Can you get it out there?
Since Frank is moving to another part of the venture, what I also say, Frank, is you're a great client advocate, and your attention to detail and workmanship. That's why I'd encourage you to go the PA route. but also work on the appraisal and the
Oh, everyone needs to
consultant
be.
route.
Everyone needs to be an appraisal. Everyone needs to be an appraiser, and it doesn't require a license in most states.
Yeah.
Just
See, that's-
be. Just
See,
be.
that's one of the problems I have is like in Indiana here, for me to get a PA license and all, I have to work underneath a PA for like 6 months, and then I have to have like X amount of insurance and everything, and I don't have enough. I wouldn't have. I mean, there's not enough work going on for right now in to get the PA. But I'm trying to do
Wait,
the
in what state?
Indiana.
And there's a ton of work there, bro.
Oh, sorry, hang on. In
Yeah,
Indiana, you have to work to get a PA license in Indiana. You have to work under a licensed public adjuster for so X amount of hours or something, and then you also have to hold like the X amount of insurance directly on it before they'll allow you to be an independent public.
It's an E&O policy, and it's usually $1 million. Most states,
But you know,
and
it's
like,
a million?
sorry, I'm jumping in on that.
No, not a million. Not a million. I
No,
don't have to
it's-
carry a million.
It's just the blanket to cover all the bases. It's similar to a GL policy. At least that's
Okay.
what's recommended here in Texas. So
Okay.
sorry, I had to specify. The thing, Joe, yeah, you hook up with some of the guys though that are through PPAA, just find out who they are. They will do the mentorship for you. They're looking for folks like us. They will do that.
Yeah, I get solicited every day now from PA firms looking for adjusters because the Great Resignation did not leave us out. I mean, there's a shortage in every single trade in this country. There's just no two ways about it. Now,
What's really sad is I've literally like in the last 2 years like interviewed for like 3 different PAs here that are like Indiana based or Indianapolis based location, and like I don't even get a call back on it, and I don't know why.
really,
I get one interview and then I never hear from them again.
You reach out to TJ
Huh.
Ware, reach out to Cal Spoon, look them up, go on the appraisal groups, reach out to them through their website I put up earlier.
yeah.
They know somebody that will talk to you.
Which states have reciprocity with Indiana? Figure that out because it might be easier. Like Oregon, the Oregon IA license and the PA license, same damn license. No apprenticeship required. So you might be better off going to a state that doesn't have an apprenticeship and getting a non-resident license than you are getting a license in your own state.
Mhm. And then you get your reciprocity.
And then your
in
reciprocity
home
right back
state.
to your home state. Yep.
Done.
What sucks is like it's easy as hell to go online to like, to get like your IA license through like public adjuster or pro adjusters course or whatever and all that there, but there's really nothing for the PA side of things.
Well,
That unless the classes I've seen, like people that have whole classes and all, they want like $3,000-4,000 for the class.
yeah.
Oh, if you're doing
I
a
don't-
cram course, sure.
Frank said Florida 70-20. I think he would need. I think that's apprenticeship. Yeah, there's an apprenticeship in Florida, but guess what? I had 0 apprenticeship, and I have a Florida license. Why? Reciprocity with Oregon. Oregon has no apprenticeship, and up until this year, which really kind of screwed me up, there was no CE requirement. But now there is 24 hours. So I'm 3 hours short.
You
of renewing.
can almost hit that in your sleep with your experience.
I'm going to do it after the call. I'm going to do it right now, actually. So, all right, Rebel Nation. It's been good to have you, Brian. It's always good to have you, brother. Be good. And yeah, do good work.
I'm looking forward to our reading club and reflecting on it.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Thanks, guys.
Let's do that.
Appreciate it.
All right, see you
Gentlemen,
guys.
it's been great. Bye.
Always.